Hello there. My name is Daniel and I'm 29 years old. About 2 years ago, I used to work in an advertising agency. My job was to optimize the agency website for better search engine visibility and drive more traffic. Everything was fine except for one major bump in the road, Mr. Williams. He was my boss at that time. Although I always treated him with respect, it seemed that he was on a mission to make my work life more miserable each day. I respected him for whatever he had achieved in his life, but he always seemed to have a problem with me. It wasn't that he was impolite and obnoxious to everyone, he particularly had a problem with me. He used to assign me odd tasks just to make fun of me. I've always been honest about my work and never really gave him a reason to treat me the way he used to. I still remember. It was my first week of joining, and it was the first time I met Mr. Williams. Hello, Mr. Williams. I'm Daniel. I just joined the company. It's my first week here. Heard a lot about you. All good things, I hope. Haha, absolutely. So, Daniel, what is it that you do here? I am in the digital marketing department. I take care of the search engine optimization of the website. See, I never really understood what you guys actually do, apart from using the office Wi-Fi to watch movies. We try to bring in more leads from search engines and other internet platforms. So then, sales, right? Not exactly. See, I don't think you belong here, Daniel. I am sorry, I don't understand. Alright, Daniel, good talk. I got a lot of work to do. It was a very awkward conversation. It wasn't exactly the kind of interaction that you would expect to have with your boss in the first week of your joining. But then again, I told myself that I might be overthinking. There's nothing wrong. I thought maybe it was just the way he was. God, I was so wrong. A couple of weeks went by okay. I used to see him in the office every day and greet him, but he never responded. Not even with a smile. But soon, Mr. Williams unleashed a storm of bullying upon me. He started bullying me in front of everybody. He used to crack jokes on me and embarrass me in front of everyone. He started assigning me odd tasks. He used to tell me to collect all the useless documents and shred them. He told me to fetch him a hot dog from the stall 2 blocks away from our workplace. He once told me to fetch everybody a coffee, and I had to run 5 to 6 rounds to the nearby coffee shop to get everyone a coffee. He even used to assign me work that was not even mine to do in the first place, like keeping tab of accounts, and financial transactions, buying stationery for the office, and more. I knew, like everybody else, that these tasks don't even count. They were nothing. He would just tell the other person to do the same work again and dismiss all the work that I had done. It was slowly becoming a nightmare for me. It became evident to everyone that he had a bone to pick with me, yet no one ever said anything about it. Even I didn't confront him about his foul behavior towards me. But the water went over my head when he told me to serve everyone during an office party. And not just that, he even told me to handle the cleanup after someone puked. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. It was an office party, a big one. All of the employees were there, and Mr. Williams had invited some of the agency's clients as well. Our workplace was packed with people. We had beer, food, and a lot of fun games. I never expected that something that started as a fun evening would turn out to become a nightmare. Hey, Daniel, could you come here for a second? Hello, Mr. Williams. Can I help you with something? So, everybody, this is Daniel. He is one of the most useful employees we have here. Daniel, why don't you serve the drinks and food to our guests? Show them how useful you are. I'm sorry, Mr. Williams, I don't understand. See, Daniel, you want to be a good employee. You do what I tell you. Simple. And don't you want to see our guests here have a good time? After all, we are the hosts, aren't we? I do, but alright then, go fetch us some drinks. Go, now! Okay. Oh, and one more thing, Daniel. Next time I tell you to do something, just do it. Understood? Yes, Mr. Williams. Good. Wisdom travels fast, but you seem faster. I kept my composure and did what he told me to do. He didn't just make me serve the clients. He told me to serve everyone in the party. Even though I was embarrassed from head to toe, I still greeted everyone with a smile on my face. I felt like I shouldn't make it any worse than it already is. But little did I know, Mr. Williams had other tricks up his sleeve to make it worse. Most of the people by now had one too many beers and were starting to get tipsy. One of the guys who used to work there and was actually my good friend, Jack, had way too many beers. As I was talking to other people, I also had an eye on him. It was very evident that he was not okay and was struggling to stand. Then, all of a sudden, he starts to throw up. He puked like a lot. As soon as I saw him puke, I grabbed a bottle of water and went up to help him. It came to me as a shock that no one was willing to help Jack, not even his friends. Maybe they were too disgusted. I went up to him and handed him the bottle of water. He seemed a little better after puking, but still not enough to register what had just happened. I, along with some other people, carried him in our shoulders and took him to the restroom. We waited there for some time, helped Jack clean himself, and went back to the party once he was feeling a little better. Everyone seemed to have moved on and went to do what they were doing. But then it happened. Something that shook me to my core and crushed my soul. I heard Mr. Williams call for me. "Hey, Daniel, where are you?" "Right here, Mr. Williams." "Oh, there you are. Our knight in shining armor. Well then, go ahead. Clean this mess up." "You are kidding, right?" "Do I look like I'm kidding? Am I laughing?" "No, I don't understand. Do you want me to clean all of this?" "Yes. Was I not clear the first time?" "But how can I?" "Oh, Daniel, it has almost been 3 months since you joined, right? Do you know where the housekeeping people keep their mops and everything?" "They're in the supplies room." "Well then, go ahead. Grab a mop or something and clean all of this." "But do you want our clients to remember this? This mess that your friend made? Now don't make me shout at you in front of all these people and clean this up." "But Mr. Williams, I can't. Not in front of everybody." "What's the matter with you? I knew you were good for nothing. Now go and clean this mess up before I lose my cool. Go, now, or get out of here and never come back." Okay, I'll do it. I couldn't do anything. I wanted to keep my job, I had bills to pay, and I was not getting paid enough already. And I really didn't want to lose my job. I swallowed my pride, pulled myself together, and agreed to clean the mess. I went to the supplies room and got a mop, a bucket, and some chemicals that were used to clean the floor. I still remember the moment when I came back to the party with the mop and a bucket in my hand. I felt like I was walking barefoot on a floor full of broken bottles. Everyone was looking at me. Some were laughing, some were pitying me, and Mr. Williams had the biggest smirk on his face. I went up to the mess and put the bucket on the floor. With the sound of the bucket hitting the floor, my heart sank. I knew now that I would have to do it, and there was no escaping this. I poured some of the chemicals in the bucket. I didn't even know how much I needed to clean the mess. I just kept on pouring while I was looking at everyone watching me. I eventually stopped when I realized the bucket was halfway filled. I put the mop in the bucket, dipped it in the chemicals, and started mopping the floor. With each sweep, I was hoping that Mr. Williams would tell me to stop or someone else would intervene, but nothing happened. Everybody just kept on watching me clean the floor. As I kept on cleaning the mess, a beautiful lady stepped out of the crowd and told me to stop. I had never seen her in the office, so I figured that she must have been one of the clients that Mr. Williams invited to the party. It was Evelyn. She was one of the biggest clients we had. But at that moment, I didn't know, and to be honest, I did not care who she was. All I knew was that she was saving me from further embarrassment. She stepped towards me and told me to stop. "Hey, stop. It's enough. Daniel, right?" "Yeah." "You can stop now." "It won't take much time, I promise." "It's alright, Daniel. You can stop now. I am Evelyn." "Hey, Evelyn, it's okay. Trust me. He can clean this up." "Well, it's clearly not okay. He is not supposed to be doing this, is he?" "Well, no, but somebody has to do it. The housekeeping people are not here." "That does not mean he has to do it. Plus, you see he has done enough. It's almost clean. I think we can wait another day for the housekeeping people to finish cleaning this up. Just make sure no one walks on it. Hey everybody, be careful around here. You really don't want this mess on your shoes." "Alright, I guess it can wait. Daniel, you can go." "Oh no, Daniel, wait. I want to talk to you about something." "Okay." "You want to talk to Daniel?" "In private, please." Mr. Williams did not look happy at all, but it was such a relief to watch him leave. As I watched Mr. Williams leave, everyone else started minding their own business. I had a moment of relief when I realized none of the eyes were on me any longer. I was so into myself that I didn't even realize Evelyn was standing right there. As I was still holding onto the mop, my eyes went looking for Jack. He was sitting in the chair at the corner with his friends, with his head down on the table. I turned my head, and there I saw Evelyn, standing near me, looking at me. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for getting Mr. Williams off my back." "It's alright. You know, you can let go of this mop now." "Oh, I'm sorry." "It's alright. Is he always like this to you?" Who, Mr. Williams? Yes, he's alright. You don't belong here, Daniel. Well, that's exactly what Mr. Williams said to me. Not in a very good way. I see you have a very kind heart. The way you came up to help your friend when nobody else did is something. I also see that you're good at handling difficult situations. You kept your composure and never once raised your voice when your boss was bullying you all evening. I could use someone like you. What do you do here? I handle the search engine optimization and other digital work for the company's website. Perfect. I have a great opportunity for you. Here's my business card. Give me a call tomorrow morning around 10. I'll tell my assistant to book a time slot for you in tomorrow's schedule. You see, I own a business and could use someone like you. Okay, thank you. Keep your head up, Daniel. To be honest, at this point, I did not understand what had really happened. I looked at the card and saw Evelyn's name and her company's name, and I instantly recognized that she was a client, a pretty big one. She ran a very successful company that was doing really well. It was one of the biggest accounts we had in our company. I flipped the card and there it was. Her contact information and the address to the headquarters of her company. I put the card in my pocket and went up to Jack to check up on him. He was still in the same position. I woke him up and asked him if he was okay. He was still very drunk and could not even open his eyes. His friend sitting with him told me not to worry about him and that they'd give him a ride back to his place. I said okay and took off from the party. I still remember. I came back to my apartment and went straight to sleep. I was so tired of the events that had taken place, I did not even change. I set an alarm for 7 in the morning and went straight to the bed. The next day, the alarm rang and I woke up. I had to go to work, but I decided not to go after everything that had happened. Also, the offer Evelyn made had me curious. I got up from the bed, took a shower, had some cereal, and called Evelyn. Her assistant picked up and told me that she had scheduled an interview for me with Evelyn at 11 a.m. It was a short notice, but I had never been more ready in my life. I reached her company's headquarters on time. Her assistant told me to wait as Evelyn was already occupied in some other meeting. After 10 minutes, Evelyn came. She greeted me very nicely and invited me inside her cabin. The interview took place, but it felt more like a conversation. It looked like she had already made up her mind to hire me. We talked for about half an hour, and she asked me what I did, what projects I had worked on, and so on. I had an interview with the human resource director right after my interview with Evelyn. The HR asked me how much I was expecting, and I told her. But to my surprise, she offered me a job that paid way more than what I had expected. She also told me about how keen Evelyn was to hire me. We did all the formalities and that was it. I had a better job at a better place that paid way more. And most of all, Evelyn was nothing like Mr. Williams. After 2 months of joining Evelyn's company, she called me to her cabin and told me that I was doing a great job. They had more leads, which resulted in more sales and therefore more revenue for the company. I was so glad to hear this. I was happy to hear that I was of use to Evelyn's company. It seemed like a paycheck for all the things she did for me. But that was not the only reason she had called me to her cabin. There was more to it. So, you remember the first time we met? At the party? How can I ever forget? You saved me. Oh, that was nothing. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about it. I'm listening. Go ahead. So the next day after the party, your buddy Jack called my office. Jack? Called you? Yes. He could not remember anything about that night, but I guess his friends must have told him about everything. He didn't call you? Like a million times, he thanked me for taking care of him and also apologized for puking. He thanked me as well for not letting Williams bully you. I asked him if that's how he treated everyone in the office, and he said he only did it to you. Why is that? I have no idea. Ever since I joined, it was always like that. I don't even have the slightest clue of why he was doing all of this. So, Jack told me that it was his niece who was supposed to work there instead of you. Turns out you were a better candidate and the company hired you instead. That was the reason he used to bully you so much. Oh, I see. Well, that explains his "you don't belong here" remark. I didn't mean to take her job, I didn't know anything about it. See, Daniel, it's not your fault at all. Williams is not the owner of the company. He is not even the board of directors. It is perfectly fine that the company hires a candidate that seems better than others. This is how you run a company. You cannot just hire anyone you want, Understood. Also, one more thing. Our company is planning to terminate the contract with Williams. Why is that? 2 things. First, we have found a better replacement, and second, we don't want to associate with a company that has people like Williams. If he treats his team the way he treated you, we don't want anything to do with that man or the company. And you are going to do it. Do what? I don't understand. You'll be the one to go to Williams and tell him that we're done. Don't worry, I'll come with you. But you'll be our spokesperson. I don't really know if I can do this. Oh yes, you can. Like I told you, I love the way you keep your composure in difficult situations. You'll do just fine. Alright then, I'll do it. The next day, me and Evelyn went up to Mr. Williams. His jaw dropped when he saw me with Evelyn. Evelyn introduced me as the spokesperson for her company and told Mr. Williams that I was going to be handling everything from her end. Mr. Williams could not believe his eyes, and I could see the same expression on everybody else's face. It was indeed a good idea to come with Evelyn. I looked at her. She seemed so confident, as if she owned the place. I could see that Mr. Williams was intimidated by her presence. He could not help but show me the same respect he showed to Evelyn. I could see all the people staring at us and whispering in each other's ears. I could also see some faces smiling as if they were glad to see me standing my ground in front of Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams invited us to his cabins. We went to his cabin to talk business. So, how may I help you, Daniel? Mr. Daniel, if you could, please. He is an important person in our company. How may I help you, Mr. Daniel? You actually cannot. That is why we are here. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Well then, let me make it clear to you. We've decided to discontinue availing your services. But Mr. Daniel, our companies have been together for such a long time. I am fully aware of this. But this is our final decision. We have made the payment for this month. So, as the month ends, our agency-client relationship will also end. But Evelyn, you cannot do this. Daniel here must have said something to you. I am sure. Whatever he said is false, trust me. First of all, it's Mr. Daniel for you. And secondly, Mr. Daniel is merely conveying to you what we have decided as a company. This conversation is over. But, we should leave, Mr. Daniel. Our work is done here. Sure, let's go. Also, one more thing, Mr. Williams. Wisdom does indeed travel fast, but definitely not in your direction. Mr. Williams's face went pale. He was speechless. He did not know how to react. As we left his cabin, Evelyn told me to go to the car and wait for her. She wanted to have a word with the CEO. She told me he was an old friend of hers. I went to the car and shortly after 15 minutes or so, Evelyn came and we went back to the headquarters. After a week or so, I got a call from Jack. He sounded very happy and excited. His voice had a different joyful touch that day. Hey, Daniel, you'll never believe what happened. Calm down, I'm listening. They just fired Mr. Williams. They fired him? Why? So apparently, Evelyn went to the CEO and told him about everything. About how he used to treat you, about the party, and about how Mr. Williams cost the company one of its biggest clients. The next day, the board of directors had a meeting about this with the CEO, and they decided to fire Mr. Williams. They fired him right away? Right away! Well, not exactly right away. The CEO confronted Mr. Williams right in front of the entire staff. He was furious about everything Mr. Williams had done, and also how he cost the company one of its gold mines. Tell me more. He even told Mr. Williams to take the mop in his hands and learn to clean up the mess he makes. Everybody was so glad that he was fired. I thought everybody in the office liked him. No way! No one liked him! Especially after what he did to you. The CEO handed him the termination letter, made him sign, and told him to pack his stuff and get out of the office. Mr. Williams packed his stuff in a cardboard box and left. As he was leaving, everybody clapped and cheered. You should have seen his face. He looked like somebody puked right in front of him and told him to clean it up, if you know what I mean. The moment Jack said this, it brought back all the wrongs that Mr. Williams had done to me. How I felt so embarrassed at that party. Like everybody else in that office, I was glad that he was fired. Nobody should have a boss like him. I don't feel bad for him at all. He got what he deserved. And as for me, it's almost been 2 years since then. I am having the time of my life. My new workplace is great, and so is my new boss. I'm getting paid well, and I am treated with respect. I'm working on big projects that actually mean something to the company. And I'm so glad that I have a good boss like Evelyn, a good friend like Jack, and a good workplace that treats me with respect and dignity.